Hey, welcome to Unshaved. I'm Takesha, and this podcast came to be simply because I wanted to archive conversations between me and my mother. And because we've talked about pursuing a creative project together for a long time now, I just figured starting a podcast would kind of fit the bill for both. Our lives and relationship have had many twists, turns, highs, and lows, and the way we've gotten through them always started with raw conversations. We're consistently pursuing a deeper understanding of not only each other and our relationship, but also of ourselves. If the topics and conversations explored in this space help you to navigate your journey in any way, then that's even better. So whether it's just myself or if I'm joined by my mom or other guests, you can expect content that is explorative, honest, and maybe even just a little bit outside the lines. So, in the first half of this two-part conversation with my mother, she explains the different styles of communication she experienced growing up with her parents and how this influenced the way she'd eventually communicate with me. So, Mom, I know that communication has always been important to you. And I know that when, as I was growing up, you explained the reason was because of the relationship you have with your father, right?
Correct, Keisha. It's funny. I grew up in a two-household family. Both my parents was there for a minute. And although my mother was the strictest, she the one that did the physical switching. My father was so against that. He always pulled me aside in private. And it was important for him to hear my side.
And when you say physical switching, you talking about like literally getting a switch off the tree?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. But I always appreciated my father's way. It gave me an opportunity to have a voice. Because with the switching, I never could defend myself. I was always wrong and Mom's was always right. Dad always he asked me questions. What happened? What did you do? Why? Let's talk about it. How can we get through this? What do you think your punishment should be, Marcia? Wow.
Hold up.
Yes.
That's so funny because you saying that right now makes me think back to when I was a little kid. And you're like, this little girl is so honest. You like, Keisha, what do you think your punishment should be? I was like, I guess I should get a spanking.
I wasn't doing that.
Right. I was like, she would have never went for the spanking. That'd be hilarious.
You was the child I never had to do that to. It took you a good minute to understand who I was. Because most of the time I was just playing with you. I raised my voice a little in a playful way. And you were so serious and you was crying. I never had to discipline you with a switch I always wanted to talk to you and I got that from my dad. I thought that was so important that the child have a voice because I felt so left out when my mother never gave me a chance to speak. It was like whatever my mother said was right. I couldn't say nothing, and I just felt that was so unfair. And I decided once I found out I was pregnant and that I wanted to include that tactic that my father raised me upon, as far as, talking to me and giving me a chance to talk back. I'm even though I'm a child, I still have feelings. I still have a voice. I wanted you to know what you thought and what you felt mattered to me because that was so important to me. And I really feel that's important to children, and as a parent, I think we forget that. And being a parent, I had to many a times put myself in, I had to go back to when I was a child. Because I remember times I remember one time you was mad at me. I was gone full. I said, I'll be right back. I came home days later. And you said, as you called my mother, Mama, you said, Mama, Marcia's home. You know, my mother at that time was like, aren't you going to chastise her? I said, no, I'm going to give her a minute and I'll get back to that. Because that was your way in a child's body, telling me you were unhappy. You were disappointed because I lied. I didn't come right back. So I gave you a moment. And if you can recall, after you calmed down, I said, come on, Keisha, can we talk?
I can't say specifically that I remember that particular incident, right? But I do know that that was your whole vibe, right? And I even remember being really young, and one of my cousins she told me that, your mother actually cares about what you think, and and if you talk to her, she'll take it to heart. So I was always aware, whether it be from demonstrations in our relationship about communication, or just even reminded of that, if, like we were saying, like if maybe you were gone for days or something like that, and I was in my feelings, that I had that reminder that yes, your mother does listen to you and she does care. And when I put it to the test,
and you did many a times,
I was like, dang, okay, I can see that. I can definitely see that. So when you found out that you were pregnant and, you were having me, having a child, and you thought about what you wanted to implement from what you had experienced in your parents, when did you start putting that into practice?
Immediately. I knew your name. I called you Takesha. I was over a girlfriend's of mine's house, and her daughter's name was Takesha, and that just resonated with my being. I was like, that's her name, Takesha. I liked the ring to it. I did. And I talked to you. Like, sometimes you would go move to the right, move to the left, and I would say, I hear you, Keisha. But I'm not sure if I was calling you Keisha then, or if I was actually calling you to Keisha. I'm sure I was calling you to Keisha at that point, and I was like, hey girl, how you doing?
And you didn't know I was a girl, right? It wasn't confirmed.
No, it was never confirmed, but I knew you was a girl.
Yeah.
How did I know that? I don't know, but I think we come with a knowing.
Okay.
I knew. And I wasn't disappointed that you was a girl.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's cool too. That takes me to a whole nother subject though. Like, that's on another level. And I just want to kind of stay where I was for a second, because I thought about the fact that how much you loved my name, and growing up, I really didn't like it.
I know it, right?
I was like, out of all the names you could have chosen, why did you choose Takesha? First, my issue was that it was unique to me. I hadn't heard it, and I wanted something more common. Then, by the time I was in high school, I was like, what in the world? Like, I didn't even turn when I heard my name. Whether it's the nickname Keisha, it's like, I'm not turning around because it's probably somebody else. You know what I mean? There's so many Keishas in the world. Like, you'll find that Keisha is the go-to black girl name on cartoons and, anything. And it's like, God dang, I don't really like this name so much. But it took me time to grow into it and to respect that is my name. And even, I think about like Japanese culture, and like, how you break a word down. Like ki, like I think about like Reiki, and it's like life force energy and things like that. It's a lot of things that I'm into now anyway in this time of my life. So I think it's appropriate. You went with the right choice.
Right. Not so much that at the time that the name resonated to me, you said something just then that it was unique. I had never heard it. I hadn't heard it. And I wanted something that wasn't so common. I didn't know about the key and the Japanese
right,
and all that, right?
I know.
But it just resonated to me,
mm-hmm.
And you was just Takesha.
Okay, well, I mean, it's cool. I don't have no complaints.
But you know what I really liked recently, since I've been here, you was like, Mommy, you know something? I do like my middle name because I think it was like you have.
No. I said that I was. So I like the name now, right? But there's a particular way that I like it spelled, right? And I was like, I'm glad that you spelled it this way rather than another way.
Okay, yeah.
That was all that was. But no, I have grown up feeling hurt, you know, and in that regard, I remember when I'm thinking back, we talk about communication. You wanted me to be able to be open with you, to express myself to you. And it takes me back to, you know, maybe at that moment I didn't know that I was empowered by what you had taught me. But when I look back, I know that I was empowered, right? Because at the age of 4, I guess, when someone did something to violate my privacy, my personal space, you were the first person I told, and it was immediate. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course I remember that. You know, that's why when you brought it to me and that individual was like, no, that's not true. No, I know my daughter is telling me the truth, you know, and you know what happened after that. But like, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you were able to confide in me and you weren't afraid and you trusted me, you know. As I think back, because of where I was at that point in my life, I wished I had did more. I wished I had did more. And when I said did more, I wished I had involved the police. I didn't. I'm not even sure if I was actually aware of that being something that I could have done.
Like the right action to take.
Yes, yes, exactly. My first thought was just to remove us, and that's what I did. But you know, 2020 is something else because I thought about that throughout.
You're saying hindsight.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I get it, Ma. You know, and to be quite honest with you, I never felt slighted because you did not go to the police. I felt heard. I didn't have to be in that environment anymore. I was immediately removed. You know, it saddens me when I hear stories where young women will express these truths and they're not believed. They're not taken away from the circumstance. It could have gone on. It could have gotten worse. But you heard me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we worked on communication even as young as I was.
Yes.
And I can't say that I specifically knew that it was so wrong, right? I just knew that it was odd and that I could talk to you about it.
Yes.
And that I should talk to you about it.
Exactly. And I'm glad you did.
Yeah, no. And so I wouldn't want you to, like, I understand, like, hindsight 2020 or whatever, but I wouldn't want you to, like, beat yourself up about that or feel like I hold any type of energy in a negative, say, like, she should have done more. Because I feel like you did what you needed to do and what you should have done to get me out of that situation. His punishment, like, okay, we have law and things like that, and I'm not taking that for granted. It does have its place, but that's something he'll have to live with, and he will ultimately reach his punishment with that at some point. You know what I mean? We can't do... I don't, you know, I try to live my life in a way where I don't cause harm to myself or harm to others. You know what I mean? Like, I know that we can inevitably hurt one another as people, whether it's intentional or unintentional, right? But I don't intentionally seek out to harm people, you know? And he had to have known what he was doing was harming.
Of course.
It was extremely inappropriate.
He was a grown man.
And that's something he'll have to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll have to deal with that. And he was not just a grown man, but also someone who's a father, you know? But nonetheless, you know, even, you know, growing up, I remember, so it was middle school, okay? Middle school. And, you know, you and I weren't in the same household, right? And I had a situation where this young guy, he wanted to talk to me about his sexual nature on the phone, right? And I wasn't with it. I was just like, nah, I'm cool. So he wanted to get off the phone with me, right? And I was like, all right, you know, but I was like, I'd never talk to him on the phone again. I would never give him the opportunity again. I'm good, you know? And I remember him wanting to talk to me like, oh, I tried to call you, he wanted to be apologetic about it. And I was like, nah, I'm good. And I didn't appreciate it. And I was telling the story to my friends, and I think I cursed in, the way I was explaining it to them. And so I had gotten so used to telling the story the same way. By the time I had talked to you on the phone and I was telling you, I cursed. And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, dag, Ma, I'm sorry. And you told me, you was like, it's an informative expression. And I want you to be able to talk to me and feel comfortable with me. And I know a lot of people won't agree with that. A lot of people won't understand that. And I could even say that, in growing up, I've flip flopped with this, whether or not, because words are words and we give them power and things like that. And there's also something else. So I can say a word, I can express myself, but there's also the way in which you do it, right? You don't have to be disrespectful just because you're using a curse word.
Of course.
Right? It's just a way of expression. And there were certain boundaries with that. It wasn't just like I was talking to you any kind of way, saying anything like that, but I was expressing myself in my truth. And you helped me to feel comfortable in that and feel like, when we talk, it's a sacred space. Like, I appreciate the fact that you never really put on this front of like this holier than thou. Or when I say that, it's because, growing up with and seeing different people in different types of circumstances and relationships with their parents, sometimes I would see where people were afraid to be who they really were in front of their parents. I never felt like I had to be something to make you happy.
I never wanted that. I wanted I wanted you to be happy with you. And I wanted you to know that I didn't want to make you. I didn't want you to be something that I thought I could have been or should have been. I wanted that to come from you, what you wanted. And that's how I think I always geared you into staying true to yourself. I can't encourage that enough. Keisha, be true to yourself. What you believe and what you want is what counts. It's not about me. I've already done lived almost half of my life, a little over half, being honest, right, of my life as it is. So no, how dare I tell you how to live your life? I support you in all your endeavors. I want to be that person that you can come to when you feel like you can't go to anybody. I don't care how bad it might feel to you, or, sometimes we could do something or feel something that we think we can't share it with nobody because it's too terrible or so bad. Nobody, I never wanted you to feel like you didn't have some place you could release that on. Even though maybe I couldn't help you as far as what you should do from that point,
Right.
But sometimes all we need is
someone to listen.
Yes. And for the most part, I think a lot of times that's all I've truly been, because like what I truly found out, and I'm starting with myself, once I share something with somebody, that we all have our own answers anyway. It's just a matter of us tapping into ourselves and bringing it out, and when I'm talking to you and sharing that with you, sometimes in that moment it happens. I know just what to do, but I needed to release it outward instead of just in my head.
You're a very wise woman, and I know that this concept may be foreign to a lot of people, right? In the sense, especially when you're talking to your child, you know what I mean? And I can understand, why someone may have hesitation or trepidation about this,
I
fear of
think
the
I know
unknown.
where you're going, but go ahead.
No, I don't even really know where I'm going, Mom, because you said so much, and like I found myself getting emotional. I found myself feeling very proud, and just also honored, that I have you,
Oh, wow.
and that's real. That's real, because you are my rock. You are the person that I know I need to I want to talk to you about the things that's happening in my life. You know what I mean? And I remember a time, especially like maybe when I was maybe affiliated with a certain type of belief system and things like that, where I was like, yo, I would never do what I would. I mean, there are certain things, yes, that I wanted to take from your lead as far as communication and stuff like that. But there were some things I was just like, man,
no way, no way.
It's not happening, bruh. Like, nah, that's not how it's going to be for me and my kids. Nah,
Yeah.
right? But when I think about who I am today, and especially that part, maybe I didn't understand the value of honoring my truth, finding my happiness. You would say that, and it seems like, very short, simplistic statements, but it can be difficult to navigate what that truth is for you in a society where you have different expectations or different standards or ideas, and you don't really get to tap into who you are as an individual.
Absolutely.
And the way in which you've parented, whether you were near or far, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was consistent, and it was really about me. There were times when I would have wanted you to give me an answer. Like, damn, just give me the answer. You know what I mean? Like, I need answers. And that wasn't, you were like, nah. You kept trusting me. You kept trusting me. One of our recent conversations, we were talking about something. I don't even really remember how we got to it, Mom, but you said that
I learned you
yes
from you.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I like when we do it just like this.
Yeah.
That is so true. And I'm gonna tell you when I learned that.
Mm-hmm.
That milk situation. I was like, Keisha, drink the milk. Drink the milk, sweetheart. Mommy, no, I can't drink the milk. I can't drink the milk. Yes, you can. Drink the milk. You, being a child, I said do something, you're gonna do it. You drank the milk. Were we in
We were in the bedroom.
Okay.
I was dipping my cookies in the milk.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I said drink the milk. I want you to drink all the milk instead of just dipping the you were okay just dipping them and eating them cookies, but okay, you were done with that now. Finish the milk. Yeah. You threw up all of the milk.
Oh,
I was like, wow, okay. She does know who she is. She does know some things about herself. I need to listen to her tell me who she is. I need to trust that. And from that point on, that's what I've been pretty much doing, sweetie.
That's amazing that you had the foresight to do that.
And a lot of times I don't know where it came from. Seriously, I mean, it just came, and I went with it. Mm-hmm. Thank God I didn't question it, or I don't know how it would have turned out then. I just went with it, and today I know that's that gut, that inside
instinct,
exactly.
Intuition,
that when today I know when I don't pay attention to that, something doesn't go right. And because something, you're right. Society has us not trusting that from the beginning. We're not supposed to, I don't want to get tongue-tied right here, right now, but I am. Don't trust your gut. Don't trust your instinct. Go to your head. Think about it. Process it. Analyze it. And then you got the answer. No. I learned to just navigate from my heart and from my instincts,
I appreciate that you made time to listen in to this episode of Unshaved. Thank you. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for topics to explore, please email unshaved.podcast@gmail.com, and be sure to indicate if you'd want to be mentioned if your feedback or questions are addressed here on Unshaved. Also, you can show the show some love by following, sharing, and or donating. Last but not least, remember you can turn on your notifications so you'll know when we're back with new episodes. Till then, let's continue to live with love and light.